Let's have a look now at what is arguably the biggest news story in New Zealand today, and this is, of course, a National MP found in contempt of Parliament over, quote, threatening, end quote, behaviour, but he will not be sacked. Article here from 3 News. Let's have a bit of a look. I'm going to stop halfway through and then I'm going to finish up because Jenna Lynch, we give Jenna Lynch a little bit of stick here sometimes, which may or may not be fair. But we think if you are receiving money into your joint account from your husband from the ACT Party, there might be a little bit of, just at least questionable. But she seems very good and capable of taking down Labour and also National. She's not that hard on ACT very often, but I say in this article, she's pretty accurate. I think it's quite a good commentary at the end. But we'll do the story first, then we'll have a chat, and then we'll play her commentary, which is the part of the same story. So if you haven't seen this yet, of course everyone's seen this. But let's have a look at the big news story from the day in politics.
Well, National MP Tim van der Molen has been censured by Parliament and stripped of all his portfolios after the Privileges Committee ruled he'd acted in a threatening manner toward Labour MP Shannon Halbert.
The committee found him in contempt of Parliament, but Christopher Luxon says that's not a sackable offence. Political editor Jenna Lynch reports.
A forced sorry.
I'd like to extend an apology to all members of this House.
National MP Tim van der Molen found in contempt of Parliament and forced to apologise for his inappropriate behaviour in a parliamentary select committee.
I'm horrified at the thought of my conduct having been perceived as threatening.
But that's exactly how people felt. The Privileges Committee was tasked with investigating a dust-up between Tim van der Molen and Shannon Halbert.
I certainly did feel threatened. At the time I was seated and Tim was standing.
The committee found van der Molen had stood less than a metre from Halbert in a threatening manner and ordered Halbert to stand up, mate.
Certainly there's no place for that sort of behaviour, for threatening behaviour or intimidation in Parliament.
The Privileges Committee ruled van der Molen's behaviour was aggressive in the sense of being hostile, unprofessional and with an element that was objectively threatening, but not in the sense of physical violence. The report said the behaviour cannot be condoned as normal or acceptable.
Are you harbouring a bully in your caucus?
Absolutely not. And I'd point you to the report and its findings where it describes the behaviour as aggressive, threatening, unprofessional.
I'd like to hear Mr. Luxon's definition of what a bully is. Threatening.
Exactly.
What he's basically saying is they said he wasn't physical, so he's not a bully. Mr. Luxon is basically saying that to be a bully, you have to be physical. I don't know about that.
Acceptable.
I don't know.
Labour's Rachel Boyack witnessed the altercation and was the MP who made the complaint.
Tim was very aggressive.
You thought you were going to witness an assault?
I was concerned that was where things could go, yes.
Wow.
Parliamentary staff were so concerned that they nearly called the security button.
She says Labour tried to sort it out directly.
Christopher Luxon in particular didn't take the matter seriously.
We did take it incredibly seriously.
He's been very quick to criticise other politicians' behaviour. He needs to look at his own.
Being found in contempt of Parliament is the most serious judgment an MP can receive.
Tim, are you fit to be an MP?
Yes, I believe so.
In my view, it doesn't meet the threshold for sacking Tim out of Parliament. What it meets the threshold for is actually proportionate and appropriate response and some pretty severe consequences for him.
How is contempt of Parliament not a sackable offence for you?
What I'm saying to you is that I think it's not a sackable offence.
Van der Molen says his last year has been difficult.
Sure, I've had a difficult time. Losing my sister and breaking my neck, back and arms is difficult for anyone to go through, but that's no excuse.
No excuse for threatening your colleagues.
Right, we'll pause it just there because after that, Jenna goes into some commentary, which is quite astute, quite good about the history here. Let me just bring over my Twitter feed quite carefully. This is what I tweeted out quite soon after it happened. So literally 1 month ago today, it was the 24th of the 7th, right? The Kiri Allan situation. So it's literally 1 month ago today. Christopher Luxon said this on Kiri Allan. Clearly, the situation raises questions about the judgment of Prime Minister Chris Hipkins. Now, I'm drawing that parallel because most people seem to acknowledge who are in the know that Kiri has had a hell of a year, a difficult year, yada, yada, yada. Like she's had lots of personal problems. And his response was, it shows how shit the Prime Minister is. His response today was that Tim van der Molen has had a difficult year personally over the last year. And as you can see, I don't have a big Twitter following, but that's had nearly 8,000 views, and it's doing the rounds. And that was my initial thing. There is more information about the hypocrisy between Luxon today and Luxon a month ago, which Jenna Lynch is actually going to kind of yardstick for us. But before we go there, Shane, love to get your thoughts.
Look, Tim has built a persona up of Moncho. Correct me if I'm wrong. Ex-serviceman, talks about it all the time. And I think one of the things I saw so far is they described what happened between Tim and Shannon as a dust-up. There was no dust-up. The guy was being physically threatening towards Shannon. He was simply doing his job. The other thing is that, if I can offer a small defence of Luxon, you can't really sack him even if he wanted to. Could probably remove him from caucus, but he's a member of parliament that's elected in his own right. But what Luxon could have done is been more condemning in this language, and certainly not try to qualify it as he did today. And just had a greater level of accountability in what you're talking about, Pat, which is absolutely right, consistency. But that is one of the problems that Luxon has. I believe that the fundamental problem with Luxon, he doesn't have a political bearing or core beliefs, and so he fundamentally makes up shit as he goes along.
And also, he goes like this.
Yeah.
Where's that wind blowing? Because this is the thing, when people talk about, I'm glad he's a politician, not a politician, he's a businessman. I don't want to pop this bubble for you folks, but you don't run a country like you run a fucking business. A business's primary objective is to return a profit to its shareholders or its owner. That's not the objective of a country. So I'm not saying a good businessman can't be a good politician, but it's not the criteria of success that everyone seems to think it is, because they're completely different skill sets.
And look, Air New Zealand is a very different beast than most other businesses, because at the end of the day, it's supported and propped up by who? The taxpayer, and has been bailed out on more than one occasion. No doubt in the future will be bailed again by guess who? The taxpayer. But you are right. The skills.
But we kind of have to, because we need a national airline.
But the skills between being the CEO and Prime Minister are very different. And one of the things you need as a Prime Minister is you need a level of consistency and empathy.
Yeah. If I've always said, Shane, if someone wanted to take a skill set from outside of Parliament, outside of politics, and bring it in, maybe running a not-for-profit might be something similar, because then it's more about the service, and you have budgets and you have targets and you have staff, but it's not about the profit. Running a business is about the profit. Some people in the chat are asking, where's the Uffindale report? Which I think is interesting. Jeepers, party staff almost hit the security button. Free Soul says, come on, Jenna, say Uffindale, just say it. Look, a lot of people are saying this sort of thing. Uffindale, bed leg biff. So they're in there. I agree with you that there's not that much that Luxon can do, but we're going to play the second part of this report now. And what is obvious, much like I highlighted in my tweet, but Jenna Lynch does it much better with many more examples, is Luxon has set himself up a standard by criticising Labor.
Yeah.
He has said, Labor, you must do this, and then he hasn't done it himself. So let's watch the last 60 seconds of this with Jenna, because she goes through a few of the examples.
Jenna, so how's Luxon handled this?
His own standards have come back to bite him here.
Exactly.
When Michael Wood was under fire for failing to declare his shares, Luxon said that Wood should have been sacked on day one. Before any investigation took place, he called the Prime Minister weak for not doing so. Whereas in this case, Luxon has waited until he's been dealt a report with indefensible evidence in it before he's taken any action. These events took place over a month ago, and before referring it to Parliament's court, Labor tried to get National to act. I've seen the email chain between the two party whips, and granted, it does end with Labor saying thanks for looking into it, so Luxon may be forgiven for thinking that the matter was dealt with. That might stand as an excuse had he not created a rod for his own back in demanding instant sackings for bad behaviour from the Prime Minister. So now Christopher Luxon stands charged with hypocrisy with a capital H.
And I wonder, Shane, and we've all seen it in the polls, so this is not a personal opinion, this is the kind of reason why New Zealanders don't trust Christopher Luxon. Like they're seeing evidence of him saying one thing and doing another. This is one of the reasons perhaps why his popularity as preferred Prime Minister is not going up. Yes, Hipkins is coming down, but he's stuck on between 15 and 20%. And everyone keeps saying, we don't know Luxon, we don't know Luxon. The other thing is they don't trust Luxon. All the polls say the same thing.
Actually, the more they get to know Luxon, the least they like him, which is very unusual for a leader of the opposition. And you're quite right. Hipkins' numbers are coming down, but his numbers are not going up. And
not at all.
Yeah, not at all.
So what do you think about the hypocrisy? I mean, like, politics is hypocrisy across the board.
Yes.
They say something and they do another. The thing that we always try and do on this show, Shane, as much as we can, is be consistent and call things consistently, be they a red team, a green team, a purple team, a blue team, or a yellow team, or whatever. And it seems that if you're going to go out and say, when there's an accusation, Labor, you must act, and then when there's an accusation against a National Party member, he doesn't act, what does that say about this person as a leader? What does that say about this person as a Prime Minister?
And really, in terms of the test of your personal integrity, this is quite a low bar. You know, he could have dealt with this very earlier on, and what he should have done is he should have said to Tim, "Come with me," walked across to Shannon Halbert's office and say, "Shannon, Tim's here to apologise." And I think Shannon would have shaken his hand, and they would have all moved on. All right. So I think that he lacks political instincts, that if he does become Prime Minister, will bite him in the bum. And part of that is when you lack political instincts, you tend to catch yourself out, and people view that as a level of hypocrisy.